Hello and welcome to Phoenix Vision and welcome to this podcast, Elemental Alchemy. So we are going to be exploring working with the elements within and without to create personal transformation. So we're going to be going through a practical journey through the elements of the air, fire, earth, and water, and how they weave in with the four doctors of health. And I'll end by giving you a powerful practice to begin working with these elements today. I'm also going to talk about the Elemental Alchemy Retreat, which will be a phenomenal journey that myself and a number of highly skilled and talented wellness practitioners are offering this September. The journey is based around exploring the self and transforming through these elements, or through working with these elements, through a variety of workshops and activities designed to elicit some real magic through a wholesome and cathartic experience. So I'm going to talk about that as we go through. So, elemental and alchemy. I want to start by just breaking these two words down and exploring what they mean to us. So, elemental. Now, we are elemental beings. So we come from the earth. Our body is made of the earth through the plants and the animals that we consume. We're made of the water, up to 70%. Some people say more of our body is actually made of water. So very, very important element for us. We are fueled and vitalized by the air, which then feeds the fire of our metabolism as we move through our dream weaving process. It's quite interesting because, I think of the earth as a nutrient, through the foods that we eat. Water is also a really important nutrient, as is air, and these all come into to nourish the combustion process of fire to create the movement and action force within our lives as we move through our dream weaving process. Now, the medicine wheels of indigenous shamanic cultures from different areas of the world, North America, South and Central America, Siberia, Africa, they all share in common the elements of the air, fire, earth, and water in slightly different combinations and directions, but the fundamentals are those four elements of every medicine wheel through all of these different cultures around the world. Now, they appreciate each one as a medicine that can be used for healing, and we're going to explore that a little bit today. So it's elemental. So alchemy. What is alchemy? So when we think of alchemy, we often think of maybe this person in the workshop in like the Middle Ages, maybe tinkering around with all sorts of potions and massive chemistry set, trying to turn lead into gold. And whilst this absolutely is the alchemist, I'm talking more about personal spiritual alchemy. But it's essentially the same principle, the same thing. How do we transform lead into gold? And the lead within us being the different aspects of ourselves that we would like to change and alchemize and turn into something better, transform into something better. So, spiritual alchemy is the act of inner transformation. It's healing and freeing the inner parts of ourselves that need to be changed and that are limiting our freedom and happiness. By transforming these parts of us, it leads to inner liberation, the freedom from our fears, and beliefs that no longer serve us, soul loss, and other destructive problems in our life. So, elemental alchemy in this sense is the act of engaging in inner transformation through the vehicle of the elements that create us, are medicine for us, and can help us realize a different reality through embracing the elemental nature of self. We are elemental beings, these elements live within us. So when we can harmonize and work with these elements, we can create all sorts of amazing results for ourselves within our lives. And we are our own medicine, and we have everything needed to heal residing within us. And by working with the principles of the elements, we can create deep, meaningful, and long-lasting transformation within ourselves. So that is what elemental alchemy is all about, and also what our retreat elemental alchemy is about, whereby we're going to be exploring all of these different elements within ourselves. So I want to, at this point, give an introduction to the four doctors. So four elements, four doctors. And the four doctors are basically the four-legged stool of health that each correlate to an element, with each being an agent of change within our inner alchemy. So the four doctors form our inner guidance system for helping us make the right kind of choices and behaviors towards creating health and happiness within our lives. So the four doctors are Dr. Quiet, Dr. Diet, Dr. Happiness, and Dr. Movement. So if you follow the four doctors and look after these guys, these principles of quiet time, taking enough rest, diet, nourishing ourselves, doing the things that make us feel happy, and moving the body, you're going to set yourself up for having a good time, because this is how the four key archetypes needed to create good, vibrant, bolstered health. So we break those down a little bit more. So Dr. Happy is also correlated with the air element. So we breathe air, and with each and every cell using oxygen for fuel. Air is correlated with the mind, with Dr. Happy looking after the psychology. So when we're happy, our psychology tends to be in a good place, and we tend to make good choices off of the back of that bolstered psychology. When we're not happy and not focusing on Dr. Happy, then yeah, life gets pretty difficult. And of course, there may be circumstances in life which make it difficult to work with Dr. Happy. People have all sorts of realms of different challenges, but we can work with Dr. Happy to help with those challenges. It can be difficult sometimes, but it's a powerful guide towards making meaningful change. Which we'll talk about as we get through. Next is Dr. Movement, which is correlated with the fire and our metabolism. So the metabolism being the internal combustion in the cell. Cell in the body burns energy to create movement, with movement being essential for our health and for life itself. Everything in life is in constant perpetual movement. Even something that looks like it's not moving is still moving, because it's a collection of atoms vibrating at a certain frequency. So when we don't move our bodies or move our minds, we tend to stagnate, because we come out of the natural rhythm of life itself, which is inherently a life of movement. Next, we've got Dr. Quiet, which correlates with the water element. Now, we are made of water. Water soothes us. Water nourishes us. I think about, when you haven't had water for a while, you don't feel too good. Water keeps the body healthy because the body is made of it. Remember, we are elemental beings. Our bodies are made of these elements. So when we align with them, we set ourselves up for having a good time. The emotions are correlated with the water element. So if we're experiencing emotional chaos, the waters within us may be a little bit choppy, and we can help soothe them with Dr. Quiet, which we'll get into in a little while. Our last doctor is Dr. Diet, which correlates to the earth element. Now, this is all about a connection with earth, connection with nature, connection with the foods we choose to eat, which are an extension of nature. And we ourselves are an extension of nature as well. So what kinds of foods are we choosing to nourish ourselves with? Are they causing a medicinal response within the body, or are they maybe doing the opposite and poisoning the body? Nature is also a chief regulator of the nervous system. So what are we consuming? Are we spending time consuming constant technology, which can often leave us feeling drained and dilapidated? Or are we spending our time in nature connecting with the elements? Or are we establishing a balance of both so that we're able to keep ourselves in a great place? So we're going to go into these doctors and elements a little bit deeper now. If we cycle back to Dr. Happy and the element of air. Now, the air element is the life bringer. If you think about it, it's the first thing we do when we're born, and it's the last thing that we're going to do before we go. You think of the baby when it's born, it takes a big gulp of air and wah, wah, starts to cry and starts to, utilize that breath, that life force energy within its life. And yeah, like the breath and the air is such a powerful tool to create change within our lives, and also to work with and become inspired by. we look at that word inspire, to draw in, you know, it's a reason why, we become inspired by something that's correlated with bringing the air in. Oh, it feels good to breathe deeply into the body, deeply into the lungs, deeply into the belly. Now, the element of the air is the life bringer. So every single cell in our body is powered by oxygen, with it being our number one most important nutrient. So, without air, that's the nutrient whereby you're going to be in trouble a lot quicker than if you're lacking the water or the earth element. We need air to be moving through our lives in a good way. So it's important for so many reasons. It's energy for the cells, but also around 70% of our body's detoxification comes through breathing. Also, when breathing correctly, the breath is the chief regulator of the nervous system, bringing us into a parasympathetic or rest and digest response, which is where healing can occur. Now, the opposite of that is the fight or flight response. The fight or flight response keeps the system jacked up and on edge, and the heart pumping, and it's correlated with stress, and it's actually very difficult for the body to heal when it's in its fight or flight state. So so much of us, we spend so much of our time in a fight or flight state, so the body can never really fully get the rest that it needs, and the repair and the healing that it needs. So the breath is actually the chief regulator of the nervous system. When we're breathing correctly, deep belly breaths, taking our time with the breath, long breaths, taking time to exhale, taking time to be present with ourselves. It helps to relax the nervous system so that the nervous system is able to heal and we have more energy. So the breath is a source of our energy, our life force, and an element that keeps the body clean and clear. It's probably a good idea to be focusing on it. But yeah, unfortunately, like most people aren't breathing correctly. And, there's many different reasons for this. But if you suspect that you maybe need to work on your breathing, then a really good space to start is by popping your hand on your belly button, breathing in, and see if you can inflate your belly like you're inflating a balloon with the breath, and then giving it a long, slow exhalation. So starting off with 10 to 15 of these breaths. And yeah, going from there. So, but it's really important to feel that belly inflating. So we want to breathe all the way into our pelvis, ideally. So we can actively prevent the potential of alchemy of self that could be accessed through the power of breath if we're not breathing correctly. So really worth focusing on. And actually, one of the first steps with my clients is to get them breathing correctly, as this can resolve and help so many challenges within the body. So on the Elemental Alchemy retreat, we're actually going to be running a 2-hour transformational breathwork session run by Amy and myself. She is a master breathworker. There's going to be some phenomenal music provided by our maestro Savio as well. So the breath work can also be great for releasing emotions as well, which we'll talk about when we get to the water element. Now, Dr. Happiness is also correlated with the air. Now, Dr. Happiness is all about doing the things that make us feel happy and living with a purpose and direction in life in mind. Now, I see more and more within my work, as well as generally within life, by observing people and the challenges that they can get into, how a lack of purpose can and does lead directly to health problems through a lack of vitality and libido, and not having much to live for. Really, if you don't have anything that you're aiming towards within your life, then life can stagnate pretty quickly. For everyone, it looks different. Everyone has different dreams and aspirations, but it's always a really good idea to be living in with a dream in mind, which is what Dr. Happiness is all about. Doing the things that make us feel happy and living to purpose and living with a dream. So without living to a dream, we tend to fall into survival mode, which involves having addictive patterns, self-destructive behaviors, mental health challenges, and generally not having a good time in life. So there's a saying by Jerry Wesh that when you have a big enough dream, you don't need a crisis. Living with a dream in mind directs our life flow, enabling us to make better choices, for how to direct our time and energy, as well as bringing happiness and fulfillment in the process. So it could be a project. So in terms of dreams, it could be a project that you want to create, a vision for yourself in terms of health and well-being, or some sort of achievement that you'd like to work towards. Could be a community project, could be a family project, could be something that you'd like to express, to bring to the world, maybe a way of serving others, or a dream for your relationship, dream for your kids if you have kids, and so on. Many different forms of dreams. And I like to say that if it sings to your soul, then it's for you. So our dreams, they want to be the song of our soul and something that ultimately lights us up and propels us forward. Having a dream is essential for the change process because it gives us our North Star, something to aim towards. Now, if finding your dream is tricky, then the Elemental Alchemy Vision Workshop run by myself will be extremely potent for helping you to craft this out. So yeah, we're going to be doing a lot of dream weaving on this weekend, and there's going to be a big focus on setting intentions for anything that you want to achieve. So if you have any dreams, coming to Elemental Alchemy will be the perfect alchemical cauldron to bring those dreams to reality. So everyone's dream is as unique as they are, and if it lights you up, then it could be worth following and seeing where that road leads you. Now, talking about roads, if you don't know where you're going, then any road will take you there. And if you're not following your own dream, there's a good chance that you're probably following someone else's. So a solid dream helps us to bring a greater degree of love and agency into our lives, leaving us feeling fulfilled, happy, and bolstered through our life alchemy process. Okay, so moving on to the fire elements. So the fire elements correlated with Dr. Movement. Now, the fire represents the heart, our passion in life, our love in life, our capacity to transform our lives through burning away what's not needed, to move into a space of greater wholeness and healing. When we think of alchemy, fire is usually the first element to come to mind, essential to bring the heat that causes the combustion of energies so that something new can be created. In order to move towards the creation of something new, the old material needs to be burned away. As the phoenix dies and turns to ashes, so can a new one be birthed. So is true for ourselves. So, our lives are a process of reinvention, transformation, death, so that something new can be born in its place. This is very much the order of our life and very much the order of nature. Now, within the self, there are many aspects that are maybe not serving our highest good for most people. Could be negative thought patterns and ways of being, behaviors that tend to trip us up, and different elements that we'd like to change within our life. So we can work with fire to inspire us to burn away what's not needed, and take action and take movement and enjoy, movement towards our dream correlated with the heart, the love, and enjoy the transformation that follows. So we establish a dream with Dr. Happy, and Dr. Movement puts that dream into action. So Dr. Movement is correlated with fire, and movement is medicine. Now, we need to move in life, and without movement, we have stagnation. And in order to create our dreams, movement is required as well. If we talk about the movement of the human body, there are so many ways to express this beautiful human body. Movement, it keeps us so healthy. It keeps our bodies pumping the toxins, keeping the organs healthy, keeping the muscles healthy, keeps us fit, keeps our tissues in a great space, and also enables us to be able to move towards the things that make us feel emboldened and impassioned in life, such as any sports that we're into, any aspirations that we want to move towards, socializing, or the other scale of things, staying out of pain. Because without movement or proper movement from the body, we tend to get into pain. And if we're living with pain in life, then we're not probably living our best life because we're focusing on that pain rather than that. And well, that focus and energy goes into the pain rather than going into creating the things that we do want in our lives. So movement is so, so important. And when we talk about movement, we're not just talking about movement of the body, we're also talking about movement of thought, movement of the mind. Now, the body and the mind are essentially the same thing. They're interwoven and interseamlessly connected. And the body is actually an imprint of the mind. So if we're carrying a lot of stress and tension within the mind, then this tends to be expressed through the body in terms of tension. So I work with a lot of people like this, and I've seen with many people what the implications of a lifetime of stress does, and it creates a lot of challenges within the system. So we can use movement as a way to not only keep the body fit and healthy, but also to manage the mind and manage the emotions. So when we're moving the body, we're also moving the thoughts. So, sometimes I might find myself in a bit of a funky mood and, some stuff might be happening. And you know what? One of the most effective things for me is to go to exercise or go for a walk with the dogs, or move the body in some way, and this has the effect of moving the stagnation of the mind. Very powerful stuff. So there's going to be a number of movement practices and workshops throughout the Elemental Alchemy weekend, including dance, getting moving, moves and the grooves, qigong, bioenergetics, a medicinal movement workshop, breath work, and other aspects to really harness the power of movement as an alchemical agent of change and transformation in our lives. So you'll walk away with lots of fresh inspiration for how to move your body in different and more imaginative, enlivening ways. Okay, so that's Dr. Movement and the fire. So next we are going to move on to the element of water and Dr. Quiet. Now, when we talk of water, we're also talking about the feminine energy, which is also the domain of Dr. Quiet. Now, when I talk about feminine energy in respect to the body and different actions that we can take with the feminine energy, this very much looks like slowing down, resting, relaxing, taking time out of our busy lives to rest and replenish, which is needed in such a fast-paced world. Whereas the masculine principle we can look at as the fire, the air, the action force, the drive, the moving forward with things. Now, it's interesting because our society seems to have, seems to glorify the action side of things, and not so much the resting and relaxing side of things. And I think this is, a really difficult way of being that leads a lot of people into a lot of challenges. They might be find themselves out in some sort of burnout if there's too much action and not enough rest and relaxing and taking stock. Also listening to ourselves, listening to our bodies. If we're very fast-paced, go, go, go all the time, it's very difficult to actually listen to what's happening within. So Dr. Quiet and the water is all about settling down, relaxing, and going into ourselves, exploring our inner world. Now, our inner waters signify our inner emotional realm, how we relate with our emotions, how we feel and perceive our emotions, and how they help us navigate through life. Sometimes our inner waters and emotions are still, whilst at other times can be an absolute tempest, rolling in the deep, the cyclone that turns the gigantic waves of the ocean. I think we've all experienced some very difficult emotional states. So through meditation practice, we can bring stillness and management to our inner emotional world, learn to embrace our emotions as guidance and messages from our inner world here to bring us valuable, highly valuable information. Now, emotion is energy in motion. Now, when emotion gets stuck, it can and does cause challenges with the body. Now, I work with a lot of people who suffer with some sort of trapped emotion, and help to move it through a number of different ways. Now, as we go through life, we tend to experience different traumas, and if not fully processed and worked through at the time, the body can tend to hold on to these challenges, particularly within the tissues of the body, which can then manifest as pain and tension later in life. So we can work with the alchemy of our waters and shift trapped emotion through practices such as breath work, dance, and processing through things like inner child hypnosis, all of which we have workshops for at the Elemental Alchemy Retreat. So it's really important to, look at our emotional self-management and becoming acquainted with our emotions, and learning emotional literacy, because all too often, we don't have that exploration of our inner landscape, our inner emotional world. And because of that, we don't know how to regulate, self-regulate, or self-manage the emotions. And the result of this is that they can often come out in unhelpful, or potentially negative ways, such as angry outbursts, or shutting down and disassociating from our emotions. And people, I think, generally on our society have a challenge with just generally feeling themselves. And if you're not able to tap in and feel yourself, you're missing out on a lot of information, and potentially a lot of life. It's very much been a journey for myself to step more into the emotional realm and become more emotionally intelligent. And it's challenging at points, but so rewarding. So can really recommend sitting with your emotions and feeling. And a way to start doing that is to just go into your breath and start witnessing what comes up, or you know really feel the emotion that needs to be felt at a given time. Because a lot of the time people can tend to suppress the emotions and kind of push them into a box, lock them away. But unfortunately, that never really works, because either that locked away emotion is going to burst out in some way, like kind of like the kettle that's boiling over, um, or it gets buried in the body and creates a pain or health challenge. So yeah, learning emotional processing, emotional intelligence, and emotional management is a key to maintaining a good level of inner health and well-being. So we're going to talk about this on the retreat as well, give you some guidance on emotional management. Okay, so our final element is the element of the earth, correlated with Dr. Diet. Now, the amazing element of earth, our mother from which we came and that which we will go to when we are gone. So many numerous studies have shown the calming effect that being in nature and connected with the element of earth has on our bodies and our nervous system. And the further we get disconnected from nature and the earth, the more health problems tend to arise. And we're in an increasingly technological world whereby many people are spending a lot of their time in front of screens, or in front of phones, and especially in the city, not so much time in the nature. We all know how good it feels to really get into a really beautiful setting, or go for a walk in a forest. And you know really want to invite you, next time you do that, is to really feel the difference in your nervous system afterwards. Um, I've recently seen an approach for working with children with quote unquote behavioral issues and things like ADHD, and quote unquote like problem kids. But I say quote unquote because I think society will look at them as being problem kids, but maybe they're actually kids that aren't being exposed to the right kinds of education, and the right kinds of ways of interrelating. You know, kind of getting boxed into an educational system that maybe serves some children but not all of them. Now, I say this because they've done numerous studies finding that they've taken some of these quote unquote problem kids into nature, and in a very short space of time, the behavioral issues go down to a huge minimum. They're able to, well, the problems and the behavior that they're exhibiting start to really plummet. And this is with like not very much connection with nature. And it's really interesting because the nature is having a balancing effect on these kids' nervous systems, so that they can experience life in a different way, and they're more open to be able to learn more effectively and operate more effectively. So really profound. And one of the craziest thing about these studies is that it's actually not very much exposure to nature and that these kids are getting, and there's a massive change in their physiology, how they're feeling, how they're behaving in a pretty short space of time. So yeah, it's like so important for our health is to get that connection with our Mother Earth. Dr. Diet in the Four Doctors represents our connection with the Earth. Now, it governs what kind of foods we're working with to bring nourishment to us. So, are they natural whole foods that bring life force energy into the body, or are they doing the opposite and maybe making us sick? Doctor diet is not just about what we're eating, but what we're consuming in general. So, there's a saying that you eat with your eyes and you eat with your ears. So, everything that we're surrounding ourselves and consuming is ultimately going into our subconscious mind, our psyche, and formulating, our thoughts and behaviors, and or maybe not formulating always, but definitely influencing. So, you know, you might have had the experience of watching like a horror film or something violent just before bed on TV, and then maybe not getting the best night's sleep, or maybe even dreaming about it um, after you sleep. And it's because you maybe fed yourself a diet of horror before going to bed, when the nervous system wants to ideally be relaxed. So the same can be true of maybe watching negative material, or maybe watching the news. It tends to go in and feed into our worries and our fears. So Dr. Diet is also about what are we nourishing ourselves by what we're choosing to surround ourselves with. Are we reading inspiring material and watching inspiring material that really lights us up, or are we maybe watching EastEnders? I got a thing with EastEnders. God, I used to watch it many years ago, and I saw it again at Christmas because my family watch it, and I was like, oh my god, this is so toxic. Like, wow, it's like so for many reasons. I've done a bit of a psychoanalytic breakdown of EastEnders, and which I won't go into here, but suffice to say that that is a pretty heavy diet to be putting into the psyche. It's like fast food for the mind. Yeah, yeah. As I believe a lot of social media is, which is where I think most people can agree that limiting screen time on social media is probably a good thing. So yes, if we cycle back to our nutrition now, working with our nutrition and Dr. Diet is often one of the fastest and most effective ways towards living with better, bolstered health and well-being, which is why we've included a comprehensive holistic nutrition workshop in the retreat, as well as enjoying tasty organic food throughout the weekend in a beautiful natural setting in the Herefordshire countryside, so in the nature as well. So, you can expect this weekend to be a really, really have a profound effect on the nervous system. And yeah, there's so much to be good said for like eating good food, like every single cell in our body is, comes from something that we once ate, and our cells are constantly being born and constantly dying, constantly turning over all the time. So what you eat now literally will become you tomorrow. So that for me is reason enough to, be really attentive in terms of what I'm choosing to consume. So healing power of food is deep as well, but in a similar way, food can also be our worst poison. So talk about fast food for the mind, fast food for the body as well. We if you have something that's highly toxic for the body, laden with chemicals, laden with sugars, laden with grease, might taste good, but a lot of the time these things don't actually really taste that good. Um, but yeah, it may taste good, but it's not helping your insides. It's not helping your well-being. It's not helping your life force energy. And you may have noticed that certain foods may even take from you in terms of energy when you eat them. So yeah, we're going to be going through a lot of nutrition stuff on the retreat, and also we're going to be having a beautiful cacao ceremony on the Saturday night, which would be a great opportunity for you to focus on your intentions and set intentions and have a beautiful time together, sharing music and sharing love. And yes, with the cacao ceremony, we're literally going to be drinking love, which is yeah, what this medicine was all about. Very potent nutrient, the cacao, full of very good things for the body that helps us to activate our heart space. So, talking of love, to finish, I have a practice to share with you that embodies all four doctors that can be powerful for creating your vision and aligning your heart and mind together towards a vision that you'd like to create for yourself. So, you can do this outside with your shoes off and contact with the earth if that's available to you. Don't worry if not, that's fine. So yeah, I just want to invite you to just find a comfortable position, sitting upright with your spine tall, and yeah, just find a relaxed position whereby your feet are grounded in the floor and you can feel your bum on the seat. And the first step with this practice is just to feel into something that inspires you or a dream for the future. Now, it could be related to a certain project that you're looking to fulfill. Could be a dream for yourself, getting a certain qualification or achieving a certain body state. Could be a professional dream, spiritual dream. Could be something that you want to do for others or a community project. So yeah, please do just take a moment to feel into it. We're going to base the practice around this. Okay, so we're going to do a heart coherence technique. Now, what I want to invite you to do is so this heart coherence technique is basically focusing in on the heart and using the power of the breath and the power of gratitude to relax and harmonize the nervous system as well as focus on that intention. So, I want to invite you to close your eyes and take 3 deep breaths. Nice, long, slow breaths. Drinking the air in and letting it flow out. On the next breath out, what I want to invite you to do is to feel your feet on the ground, whether that's outside or inside with your feet on the floor. Feel your bum on the seat if you're sitting down, and just become really aware of these two things. Really aware of your feet and your contact with the chair. Next, with the next breath out, I want to invite you to imagine roots going down from your feet, your bum, spreading out into the floor, rooting you deeper and deeper with each breath. Really feel yourself rooting into the ground, really feeling that connection with yourself through the breath and the earth through your feet. Beautiful. So, staying with the breath, going to focus on the heart space next. Taking a few deep breaths and filling up into your heart space. It can be helpful to put your left hand on your heart to feel it at a deeper level. And keep breathing into your heart, feeling it beating within your treasure chest. So next, if you see your heart, On the next breath in, breathe from the right side of your heart all the way to the left side and back again. Next, breathe from the left side to the right side and back again on the exhale. And next, breathe from the front of the heart to the back of the heart and back again. And from the back of the heart to the front of the heart. Back again. On the next breath, if you breathe from the bottom to the top of the heart, and on the breath out, breathe from the top to the bottom of your feet into the ground. Take a couple of these breaths, rooting, grounding breaths, deep into the belly of the earth. On the next breath, breathe from the bottom of your heart to the top of your head, the top of your crown, and back down to the bottom of your heart. Next, return to the overall heart breathing. Next, if you can feel into something that brings you happiness, something that brings you joy, maybe a certain person, place, or a thing. Could be a fond memory or a treasured pet. I'm thinking of my dogs right now. It's making me feel good. I love those guys. Just keep breathing. Keep feeling that love, feeling that happiness. Keep feeling into that emotion, that person, that place, that thing. And with each breath, see if you can expand your awareness, expand the love, thanking life for this person, place, thing, thanking yourself. And with each breath, feeling the expansion larger and larger. Larger again with each breath. Feeling the love. And we'll slowly draw this practice to a close. And when you're ready, you can open your eyes. So I hope you're feeling good from that. I know I am. This practice took about 5 minutes, but you may have feel different for that 5 minutes. Maybe brighter with more clarity, feeling maybe a little bit happier. So very powerful practice to do throughout the day or to start your day, or very powerful to do just before bedtime as well, because when you put yourself into a state of gratitude and love, this helps to relax the nervous system, which can help us to get a better night's sleep. Dr. Quiet. And yeah, we all know what it feels like to have a great night's sleep. So yeah, great practice that you can do anytime. So highly recommend it. Okay, so that brings us to the close of our elemental alchemy, our short elemental alchemy journey. If you are interested in looking at the longer elemental alchemy journey, then yeah, the notes, or there's more information for it within the podcast notes. But just to give you a bit of a rundown, it's going to be a beautiful journey that we're going to take you guys through in September, 13th to 15th, I believe. And yeah, we're going to be going through all of these different elements in a staged progression to take you on a beautiful journey throughout the weekend, a journey of inner alchemy, journey of self-discovery, and a journey of creation. So it's going to be a great time to bring anything that you'd like to create within your life into the alchemical cauldron of the weekend, so that you're going to be able to focus on bringing those dreams to reality, to life, and we're going to support you in that. So we have many different workshops. So we've got a transformational breath workshop, a sound healing dreamscape, an inner child workshop, cacao ceremony, medicinal movement workshop, spoken word workshop, intention setting workshop, and a nutrition workshop. So yeah, there's lots in here, but also at the same time, we're going to be doing it at a nice relaxed pace, because, you know, this weekend's also about relaxing, decompressing, and maybe for some of you getting out of the city. And yeah, just enjoying a really beautiful time with like-minded people. So this is perfect for you if you want to enjoy escaping the hustle and bustle of the city and unwind in a beautiful setting. You enjoy transformational experiences. You're looking for a kickstart with improving your health. You want to set powerful intentions for the future. Improve your relationship with yourself and others. It's at the end of the summer, so if you're looking for a perfect way to end the summer, then this can be that way. You want a bonding experience with a loving community, and you want to treat yourself, potentially your partner or friend. So all enjoyed with beautiful company, beautiful people in beautiful settings. So we would love to have you along. So yeah, if you want any more information about that, then you can feel free to contact me. I'll put my details in the show notes, and as well as a link towards get more information about the retreat. And yeah, much love to you. Wishing you a beautiful day with whatever you're up to, and look forward to seeing you soon. Thanks for listening. Bye.